By three of my great colleagues with Keith Grossman, Javon Diaz, and Tony Massey, owners of their respective labs. You'll get to hear a lot from them. It's a pleasure to be back on the stage again. We were able to do this at Vision Expo East, and we feel there's a lot of value in the content we're offering here. And the discussion that we're going to talk about today is the differentiation between independent labs on both lens choice and also the customer service differentiation between big corporate labs and online retailers, and how we separate ourselves to offer a different solution to independent ECPs. So our first question is, we kind of get into this and get rolling for the sake of time. I know everybody on the stage likes to talk, so I got to make sure I give everybody a few minutes. But where we're going to start off with is talking about customer service. And I think everybody could probably agree in this crowd, outside of optics, service in general since COVID has gone down. Whether you're at a restaurant, you're traveling or whatnot, we've seen this degradation for sure in service levels across the board. So at our laboratories, one thing that we focus on heavily is customer service, because we struggle mightily to compete with the big corporate labs and the online retailers and the rest. So what we can do to kind of separate ourselves is have really, really good service, really, really good production, and it starts with the customer service team at the front, which is probably the best sales reps that any of us have in our building. So Keith is the owner of Simplify Optics in Valencia, California. Keith, why don't you share with us what you guys do at Simplify that is a customer-centric and the differentiation with your service levels?
Thank you, Brandon. Well, the first thing, I think the first rule is we have a customer service department inside our laboratory. I think a lot of our corporate labs have call centers or off-site customer service. For what we do, literally customer service is in the middle of our lab, not even in cubicles. They're physically in the lab. So if you call our lab, you might hear equipment behind them. And the reason for that is we want customer service to be one with the production, because we all work in the lab. And sometimes at labs, it's like a separate company, customer service, where they're in an office area and they're saying, well, I'll see what the lab can do. And so let's see what we can do, because the customer service in our lab physically works in the lab, and they're trained in multiple positions in our lab. They're cross-trained. And in our case, every one of our customer service people comes from our production. We don't hire customer service from the outside. It would be rare that we would hire someone from the outside. So we do things a little bit different, but we really want to have a warm voice answer that phone on the first ring. We don't want more than a 20-second wait. And we want to have our people knowledgeable. They can answer lens questions and status questions. And if they need to expedite a job, they can do it themselves. So that's our first couple of rules.
Absolutely. Javon, you want to continue to capitalize on that?
Sure. I think empowering our customer service is huge as well, where they're able to make those decisions without having to go through the red tape or yellow tape of, let me wait, let me call you back, let's get someone else to answer that for you. We've empowered our customer service manager and the rest of the team there to make some of these key decisions. When we talk about speed, a lot of times it's referred to turn time. How fast can you turn that job around? And of course that matters a lot, but alongside that is, how quick are you to respond to that, right? Because that to them, I think, adds value to each of these customers. They feel that they are being heard and that they're being taken care of. When they're pushed over to the next person, again, it adds to the time, but at the end of the day, we're trying to establish a good relationship and allow them to feel valued more than anything. So I think, just to piggyback on what Keith says, empowering our people and treating them well, treating your customer service well, right? Those are our, as owners, those are our first customers. So we treat them as customers, right? We allow them to succeed and do their best, in turn knowing that if we take care of them, of course they're going to take care of the rest of our customer base.
I want to capitalize on what you just said there, that they're your first customer, is your customer service, and making sure that your people are taken care of. That I think that's a critical point. So good one to point out. Tony Massey from Ocean State Optical, he's on the East Coast, and so Tony, tell us a little bit about how you guys handle things at your lab and what the customer-centric focus is there as well.
Well, they would have told that, they would have seen I was on the East Coast after my accent came out for sure, and they need to tell them that. Yeah, ultimately it comes down to relationships. Our girls in customer service have incredible relationship with customers. They know their cadence of their work every day. They know how they order. They know what they order. So there's a good relationship there, symbiotic, and it flows through the lab. I think the part of it is why people come to us. I mean, that's one of the main things we have to offer. So there's a little bit of I know it's a cliche, but a mom and pop feel. I think that's what the industry's missing. I think it's coming back. I think people want it. I think we just have to show them why they want it and give it to them. That's what we're here for. And by the way, Brendan, you're a big advocate for us, and we appreciate all the things that you've done for us. You speak clearly for us, and it doesn't go unrecognized. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it too. I mean, a lot about the reason of why we're sitting up here on this stage is we pushed quite a bit over the years that independents didn't have a big presence at Vision Expos. We weren't shown the opportunity to get out in front. And I think what's been lacking in this industry that we see across private ECPs across the United States is it's not the lack of wanting to use independent laboratories and have that experience, it's the lack of knowledge of what independent laboratories are out there. I can look in this crowd right now and name off several. RX Tulsa Group is sitting right in front of me. There's multiple different independent labs that have been in our speakeasy booth that are here representing Global Optics is here. I think the knowledge of how many independents are actually in the industry and what they bring to fragmentation. Fragmentation is such a critical word for us to use here because if you look at all other industries in the United States, they've been consolidated down to 1 or 2 or 3 big players. What happens when that happens? Service plummets. You have no longer competition, people rest on their laurels, there you go. With the fragmentation of our industry and the, I don't know, stubbornness of independent labs to keep fighting the good fight and keep a presence against all odds with the continued consolidation of private equity incursion, big corporate labs continuing to buy ECPs or incentivize the utilization of their laboratories, we're constantly battling them. So when we talk about the customer service perspective, in every point that each one of these gentlemen made up on the stage, they're better sales reps than anybody we could ever hire. No offense to anybody that does sales out there, but the relationship that is created between the customer service team and the opticians that have to call into the lab on a consistent basis is huge. Having the knowledge of our customer service team in my own specific instance of the 3 labs that we have is that they're the backbone of everything we do. Anybody that's involved in the laboratory, it's not when the lab's gonna, or if the lab's gonna go down, it's when, right? When we're gonna have a problem in the laboratory. That's when customer service's job is the absolute hardest. Jobs get turned a little bit later coming back in, there's everybody in the lab is struggling, trays are piling up. Your customer service team is putting out that massive fire. When you're calling into a corporate lab, and this is not to be bashing on them or anything, but a lot of consolidated down to call centers. They can't physically go in and touch that tray and have an impact on that job in real time. They have to call somebody else and there's a multitude of change. Or if it's part of the consolidation that's forced a lot of work outside of our country to Mexico, Thailand, China, the rest, now think about there's time difference involved as well, right? So now you're having a multitude of steps to get the answer to that job. So when you guys talk about your customer service teams, do you feel that being optically sound in terms of what they're talking about, that all of your teams are super solid on that aspect? Keith, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we have a whole internal training program for anyone that we pick from the lab, but typically if they're coming from the lab, they have a really strong optical background and what our capabilities are, things we can make, cosmetically how a job is going to turn out, what base curve it needs, what availability there is. We might pull that person from the inventory department. So a lot of times they have that, but yeah, before we put them on the phone, they have to be trained for months so that they can answer those technical questions. And we have a manager that has a lot of experience on really low vision jobs, slabs, things like that. I think every lab has that. But you have to have those people because that's what the lab business used to be. I mean, we used to call that in the lab business staying in business. And now it's like a niche that you can answer a question about something, but our family just did that because we didn't want to lose our business. So it's become a special skill, but it's something that we don't take for granted, and we want friendly people, but they have to be knowledgeable. And I think that's what our feedback from our customers is when they talk to a person on the phone and simplify that they usually just have to make one call, and that's the idea. We want it to be simple. One call, and you don't have to follow up 5 times. So.
I like to say we keep our older people employed, right? There's no severance packages or anything for them. They are the mentors of our lab, and we've got a number of them that I call them our pillars because all of our younger team gets to learn from them. There's a lot of things that need to be handed down, right? There's a lot of tradition in the optical industry, and having those people is so key. And while we have them, let's take advantage of that. I would say the average age of our operators in the lab is about 31, 32. And so a lot of youth there, but we got a couple of these pillars that are able to just share that knowledge. And our customer service manager is one of them, been doing it for over 30 years. And he's just developed an awesome team. But again, the experience and passing that on is huge.
I couldn't agree more. One of our customer service directors, Shelly, who happens to be sitting in the audience over there, she is the backbone of what we do and has that same kind of experience. I mean, has been through it 30, I don't know, how long you been doing this, 100 and how many years? A long time is what she said. So yeah, without that tribal knowledge, right, the old school, because back in the 90s, it was only independent laboratories. You know, there wasn't this big corporation push and there wasn't this consolidation of it. So the only way you did differentiate was truly the service and then the delivery, right? So the pillars, I like that. That's a good one. Tony, you want to expand on that?
Yeah, the biggest learning curve in the lab is final inspection and customer service. Those are the ones that we do everything in our power to keep happy. Not that we don't want everybody to be happy, but we train them the most. The criteria of what we want them to do is most stringent. I can't emphasize it enough. It's pretty much the backbone of the lab. Quality coming out of the lab through final inspection, and girls, we're talking to the customer every day and seeing, I run the business off of what my customer service writes any kind of complaints or even positives. But mostly if the complaints are there, and I treat every complaint like it's our fault, and I work my way backwards from there. I think that's the best way to do it. And you can't emphasize it enough. I mean, we got to emphasize to the customer that we're not trying to compete with them. We just want to be their partner.
I think there's something to be said too, that if your customer service doesn't know what they're doing, we all know those opticians that are super savvy that will eat them for lunch. You know, what do you mean you don't know what you're talking about? And I see a bunch of people laughing. Yeah, you've been there, done that. Okay, I want to shift gears from the customer service to the second topic. I think is another key advantage that independent laboratories have, and that is the opportunity for lens choice. Not all independent labs have a multitude of different lenses, but the four of us on stage do. We carry both branded and private label products in our laboratories. We support both sides of the fence on that equation, and we leave it up to the customer for what's best for them. What is the choice that the ECP wants to use? Whether that's Verilux or Shamir, an IoT or a Hoya, NeuroLens, all the things that we do at our lab. I know a lot of us share a lot of those same commonalities with our product. But talk a little bit about lens differentiation and ability for choice, and more explicitly, the lack of ability of choice when they continue to use corporate labs where they have one choice, right? So Keith, starting with you.
Yeah, I mean, we offer several brands in our lab. We don't offer every brand in our lab. We're not trying to be a grocery store. We're trying to be a specialized market, right? And so we do offer different brands, like house designs, like every corporate labs offer, but you're right, we're not trying to steer them into one particular brand. We work with several exceptional brands, and that's good enough for us. We prefer full backside designs because we don't want back orders. We don't want to have to order a bunch of, I don't want to say the name, but big corporation with a V lens name blanks and have every color and base and add on the shelf. We like full backside because we don't like running out of lenses. We don't like calling and saying this lens on back order for a month. So the ones we focus on are full backside, Shamir, Unity, NeuroLens, Aura. Those are the ones that we're really focused on. So we don't offer every design. We offer Hoya, but we tell customers right away it's outsourced. We've been a good partner of ours, but we don't make it in our lab. But if it is what you like, you're going to get it tomorrow, and you're going to really love the quality. And so, being from California, we designed our lab to emulate In-N-Out. And In-N-Out, there's 3 menu options. And if you order In-N-Out, it's going to be fresh, it's going to be accurate, the worker's going to be friendly, and if you love burgers, you'll love In-N-Out. But if you want chicken tacos, go somewhere else, because we're not going to sell everything. So
we're going to get you an In-N-Out shirt. That's coming. You look for that in the mail. Simplify In-N-Out right there, coming your way. So, you want to continue?
Just do it well, right? Know our core competency, know the brands that we do sell. We focused on full backside designs. That's really our thing, right? And so being able to have that process down is huge for us. It's not I guess overly sexy, the whole process, right? But just do the simple things right and that's why the name is Simplify. We say it's not simplified. We haven't done it yet. We're constantly tweaking. But yeah, focusing on just a number of brands and doing those really well, I think has been key for us and the success of Simplify.
Tony.
Joe from Spec Checks, we're putting chicken tacos on the menu. Listen, we're trying to give them choice. With online and box stores, if they don't have the choice to be a little more flexible, a little bit more creative in what they sell to their customer, they're going to lose it. Bottom line. They might have loyalty right now with mom and pop, but without flexibility and choice, they're going to lose the younger generation to convenience. So we gotta change a little bit the way we do it.
Another thing too, go ahead, Glenn.
I think it adds credibility when they know we're not tied to a brand as well, right? I think just one last point to that is you give them the options, but there's credibility. They trust us more when it comes to what's the difference between this product or this product, right? Because there is a variety of them that we can offer to them, as opposed to one they know might be an agenda behind it, right? But I think that's the other positive to the independent labs here.
Yeah, and I want to educate the crowd a little bit for those who maybe are not involved in lab environments that while there are a lot of differentiating factors between lens designs, like our private label is IoT, it always has been. We're extremely loyal to IoT because their designs have been phenomenal since day one, not to mention the support we've received in that. But along with the other branded products we have, when we get to physics, right, we're starting to differentiate product portfolios by how the lab actually performs the job. It's not so much the casting of the lens that it was, say, 30 years ago when we were traditional lens blanks. It's more how well is the lab taking care of their equipment, doing their calibrations, doing checks on the jobs, final inspection like Tony mentioned earlier, because we have closed the gap on differentiation with lens design because we've reached the pinnacle of physics with math. Math is math. We're at the edge of that algorithm, right? So it really does come down to not only the lens vendor choosing the right laboratories that take care of their machines and ensure that they are calibrating their equipment and they're producing quality product to maintain the brand name, but also for us as lab owners, the critical part is that we're sending quality product and the lab is what's differentiating those models, right? Is that we're sending out quality product because we do take care of our equipment. Experts on the line and the such, right? Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think that digital progressives or freeform progressives, it's a lot more convenient for a lab. But now you take ownership of the design, the engravings, everything has to be perfect. So process control when you run progressive lenses is very challenging. It's temperature control, it's alloy control, it's your blocking rings. It's so many things, meticulous detail that every day we have to have a process for process control. And your air coating department is the same as surface now. In fact, I think 20 years ago when we would go up to the DVI meeting, surface breakage was probably the lowest, I think, in most laboratories when you had semi-finished progressives. Now in most labs, I think surface is the highest breakage. The last few DVI workshops, that's our software company we use. So taking ownership of that design is a big responsibility, and if you're not running a really accurate process every single day, you're going to cause problems. You have to verify those designs on a dual lens mapper. You have to verify every design. So it's a big ownership you take, but it's worth it if you really control process.
Any of you guys want to further the thought on maybe like labs in general? We got about 10 minutes left. I do want to make sure that we have the ability to open up for any questions. I know that we had quite a few in Orlando, but anything else, now that we've kind of covered the two topics that were super important, is there anything else in your guys' minds that you think we should articulate to the audience and let them know about independent labs, let them know about not only what we're doing, but outside, how big the scope of the independent industry, just in general? Is there any other topics that you guys think we should talk about here or we should leverage?
I just think, again, not to be redundant, just emphasize that we're your partner, we're not your competitor. We're going to do everything we can to make your practice successful. Whatever you need, we're going to go above and beyond. We're going to go the extra mile. And it's nice to be able to call, in my case, and I'm sure in Keith's case, and Yvonne, the president of the company on the phone directly to help them with an issue they have. A lot of times they have price concessions that they need because they got beat on a customer, and we take care of that. So it's just a matter of just being loyal to your customer and taking care of their needs, and hopefully it's reciprocated. That's all I can ask.
All four of us up here on stage have run corporate labs in our careers. We all worked for the same company at some point, and there's a reason we all left. And the reason we all left was we saw a void in the industry at that time. We still see it. There's room for more independent labs. We need more independent labs. And so the four of us, we're all around the same age. And I think we all left around the same time for that same reason. There were things that we were asked to do by our former employer that we know is not better for the customer. We know it doesn't improve quality. We know it reduces turnaround time. And so for us, obviously it's about our bottom line, but we're here for a different purpose. We love the industry. We've all grown up in the industry. Some of us are second generation lab people like myself. So something we love about being independent, servicing that part of the industry. We think there's a need there, and we think there should be more. So every time we hear a new startup independent lab, we try and support them as a community, as a group. We all compete with each other as independents, but deep down we support each other, we root for each other. And so I think there needs more of that in the industry, which is why we're here. And for all the people we employ, this is a career and a trade for them. When we started our lab, we had 5 employees 8 years ago, and now we have almost 100 people. And these are people that were not in the industry before. And so we think the optical business is a great industry that has a great future. And like you said, Tony, if we allow big box and corporate to just keep dominating, I think we really are going to lose something great in the industry. We want to serve those high-end practices that are looking for that high-end quality to differentiate themselves from all the chains. And so there's a purpose for independent labs, and it's not just about our own families, it's about the families that we employ.
Brendan, just so everybody knows, we're not anti-corporate. We're just pro-choice and pro-service. That's it.
I think everybody in this industry who knows me knows my position. I'm supportive of the industry. Just like Keith said, I have a huge passion for what we're doing. I have a huge passion for this industry that accepted me and let me come in and create a career out of it, and then also trickle that down to employ other people and build them up. The movement that we're creating here is for independent laboratories as a whole to come together and be strong like the old OLA and COLA days, and when the industry was like really a tight-knit family. And who wins at the end of the day of that? It's not the ECP, it's actually the consumer. And I think one thing for everybody in this audience to remember at the end of the day is we're all consumers in everything that we do, but we seem to forget that when we go to work, right? You expect when you spend $80 on a steak, you get a good steak, right? Well, when you're spending $800, $1,000 on a pair of glasses, it's like putting tires on your car. Who the hell wants to spend that, unless you're like a sneaker collector for glasses, right? Who wants to spend that kind of money on a pair of glasses and get something that doesn't live up to that expectation? There's far too much of that has been going on for a few decades. And what we've empowered all the independent labs that we share a platform with is to ensure that you're looking at the consumer. Not the ECP, not the optician, not satisfying them. Satisfy the consumer and you just satisfy the ECP. They're happy. Most of them. So, all right, we got about 6 minutes left. Does anybody in the audience have any questions? Like to elaborate further on the independence? Looks like we have one in the back.
Is it on? Okay. I'm also with an independent lab. I just wanted to add to the conversation that we're also, in addition to being design agnostic, we are lens manufacturer agnostic, where if we see lenses that are aberrated or having problems, a corporate lab, it is what it is. They're going to have to use whatever they're being supplied, and they're going to have to just send it out the door. Whereas an independent lab, we're often like the shield between us and the ECPs and trying to filter out the poor products and the poorer quality before it goes out our doors, and just provide the best quality products to our consumers so they can, again, differentiate themselves. Whereas, yeah, corporate labs, whatever they're getting in, and that's just the bad lot. They don't have a choice to go to a different manufacturer. It is what it is.
Can you tell us what your name is and what lab you're from, please?
Tyler with Encore Vision,
Thank you. And where's Encore at?
Spokane, Washington.
Up in our neck of the woods, man. Right on. Thank you for getting on the mic. Anybody else? Can you please tell us your name and where you're from?
My name is Jennifer, and I represent RXO Tulsa Independent Lab. And I would just like to say that a big topic within the industry right now is vision benefit managers and vision plan reimbursements. And I think our advantage as an independent lab, especially with working with those states that allow for choice, because that's what we're all about. Choice labs, choice products, is that we can go in and show them how to be the most profitable that they can be. I know you guys work with a lot of the states that are able to choose out of their lab networks in those vision plans. But I think that's one of the extra benefits of being an independent lab, is that we can go in and consult with you and show you that, hey, you don't have to just use those vision plans, lenses, and their labs. You can increase your reimbursements and your profitability across the board on that as well. So
Okay, that's an excellent point to make. In fact, I think we could have an entire session on managed care and the struggles that we all face, from lens designers to laboratories to the list goes on and on. I think that's a hot topic that probably should be a point of emphasis, Tony.
You made a steak metaphor, and I like to use it sometimes. The difference between corporate lab and independent lab is when you order a steak from us, we cook it ourselves. We don't get the diner down the road to cook it. So, you know the quality.
That's it. Okay.
Brandon, I stopped today to talk to you, and you're handling a problem, but I think there's a big benefit for independent labs. That's where we all came from one day. But the thing that you have, and I just can't overemphasize this, is knowledge. You have the experience of so many different challenges and problems that doctors' patients have. And in future indie booths, I'd love to see that front open up and doctors come in and talk to us about challenges that you're having in your lab. We're here for you, and you guys actually walk that walk. You actually talk that talk. Take advantage of it. The collective wisdom in this group is excellent and very high.
Thank you, Pete. That's awesome, and I agree. How many people in the audience are involved, using, or part of an independent lab? Just raise your hands. And this is, so Vision Expo, say, even 8 years ago, very small presence of independents coming to the laboratory, showing themselves at the lab, being involved, being engaged. This movement, as I've mentioned before, is continuing to grow and grow and grow. And I cannot emphasize enough about the importance of getting out there, taking part in what we're doing, joining this movement, getting behind what we're doing, and showing that the industry is so much more vast than what people have been led to believe when they graduate from optometry school. They come out thinking there's 4 brands. I won't name them, you all know who they are. But that's literally how they come out. Opticians think that there's 4 lens options. We need to educate, we need to empower them that they have so many more choices, so many more options out there, because at the end of the day, remember, we're all consumers in everything that we do. So we need to empower the public and the customers that we serve. If my lab's not doing it right, great, I'm going to refer you to 50 other laboratories. Definitely not these 3, but 50 other laboratories that are awesome, that will serve you. You don't have to continue to stay in that rat trap of using the same old, same old. I can't tell you how many customers I had that were at one corporate lab, moved the other corporate lab, and then moved back to the corporate. They get in this trap for 20 years. And they're like, well, I didn't know you guys existed. Well, now you do. And the opportunity we have to continue to spread that word, get involved in optometry schools. I think I read this morning that there's 2 or 3 new ones that were just launched in the USA. It's great, so that's expanding. But I think that's all the time we have. Do we have any other last minute questions? Bless you, by the way. Any other questions before we hang it up?
Brendan, I think you deserve a lot of the credit to bringing us together too, by the way. You deserve a round of applause.
I appreciate it, man. I'm at you guys' service, and I appreciate all of you in attendance today. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the show. Tell them, Rofi.